What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Arrow. Today we're going to go over my endgame Glacial Cascade Elementalist. This build went from easy league starter to all content viable blaster, and honestly, really surprised even me at how good it was. So let's jump in and talk about what I did in the endgame. So this is the super high budget version. If you want to play the cheaper versions, I have a Maxwell League Start guide, and I have a bunch of videos in between. But what we're going to talk about today is what I did differently in the absolute endgame once I had hundreds of divines to spend. Let's start with the Mage Blood. What Mage Blood does for us is it enables resistances to cover the melding of the flesh. The melding of the flesh jewel makes you lose over 70 resistances and max res to allow it so one maximum res type will cover all three. So if you get 90 cold res, well, you'll also have 90 max fire and lightning. Now you still have to get the resistances for all of those, and you have to cover the downside of the melding. That's where the Mage Blood comes in and really helps us recover all of that resist that we lost on the way. The Mage Blood also makes it so the Sapphire Flask will provide a huge amount of maximum resistances to enable us to get to 90 cold res. After that, it's just generic power, more speed, boosted onslaught, and some armor. You can absolutely play this build without a Mage Blood, and you can take it really, really far without a Mage Blood. I don't recommend going for the CI version if you want to play with, say, a Headhunter in the endgame. I would go with dual wands and play it more how I did last league. I have a video for that if you want to check that out as well. So when you go CI, one of the things you lose is Righteous Fire of the Arcane. You cannot run RF and CI at the same time, and that's 25% more cast speed that's gone. So we've replaced that with the Soul Ascension gloves. These gloves give you Soul Eater up to twice per second, totaling well over 200% cast speed at the top end. For us, these gloves just about double our damage when we're at maximum stacks, and while doing very juice content, you regularly are between 30 and maximum. These also ramp up pretty quickly on Uber bosses, and really you can feel the difference between having no stacks at all and say 20 to 30 stacks. The more difficult the content, the longer the fight lasts, the more powerful these gloves become. They single-handedly replace the loss of RF of Arcane Devotion and way, way more. We've also gone for an Archdemon Crown. That is a pseudo 8-link or 7-link, whatever you want to call it, that allows us to get some more gem space in the build and also drop Heat Shiver and Trinity, which can be really annoying to deal with on Pinnacle bosses, difficult tier 17 maps, etc. No more balancing of Trinity, just plug and play 4 gems and it works. Be sure to check the gem section because that also enables us to add a few gems to the build. And what I chose to do was add a Discipline. Discipline gives us about 1300 total energy shield, and I was able to sneak it in with only a few changes. Lolcohol has made a video and a written guide for how to make this helmet. I will link that down in the description alongside of the wand. Lolcohol has also made a written and video guide for how to make the accumulator wand. This is the best in slot wand for this build. It can be difficult to get a decent one early, but in the end game, you just start with your base, follow the instructions, and it is very, very easy to get a wand like the one that I have. Prices change, so I'm not going to estimate their cost, but I made the helmet and the wand for less than 50 divines. Let's jump in game and talk about some more of the items and the gems, and we'll also go over the Merc. So one of the things that I've done is I've taken Arcane Surge out of my main links and I put it into the Frostblink of Wintry Blast and Assassin's Mark setup. This makes it so we have full uptime of Arcane Surge. You just got to keep it on a low level. Spell Echo obviously can be replaced with Awakened Spell Echo. This is going to give you about 20% more damage. It's very expensive right now, and I'm just about to hit 100. I'm 99.62. So I'm probably not going to get it on this build. I'm going to be re-rolling pretty soon because I've done all the content, and you know me, I got to play a new build. We've got 1.4 million kills on my League Starter. That is really, really high. I'm super happy with that. I never play builds this long on League Start, but it was so much fun that I just wanted to make sure that I did everything in the game. Ashes, we're still on a 28 quality. You, of course, could buy a 30. It gives you a little bit more damage, but nothing game-changing. So I've just been rocking the 28 that I got early on. With the Aegis Aurora, if you get a block corruption, you're going to get yourself very close to maximum block. I think I'm at 67 right now. A +5 block implicit would give us +6 total because of the mastery. So that would take us to 73. I also have a block Watcher's Eye here. I could get this up to 8 with a couple of divines. So that would put us at 74 block. That feels pretty good. These rings were super cheap to make. I know they look insane, but here's what I did. You go and get the suffixes that you need. So for me, it was tier 1 res, and then cast speed. On this one, I went for tier 1 res, and tier 2 strength. I needed a strength roll somewhere, and then any amount of ES as a prefix. On top of that, you want 2 open prefixes. 1, because you want to get minus mana cost, because in the end game, we are spamming this skill, casting it so many times per second that even with really low mana cost and high regen, it gets difficult to deal with all these Soul Eater stacks. So you want to have 2 open prefixes, and then you want to use a Crusader Orb to slam on a prefix. So let's jump into Path of Exile here so I can show why this is so valuable. So we have a ring. We're going to scroll right down to the Crusader prefixes, and there are a number of options here. Some of them are good for us, but all of them are good. So we have lightning damage per power charge. A lot of lightning builds this league, so this is going to be very good. We have lightning damage against shocked enemies. Again, a lot of lightning builds. And then life per enemy hit with spells. This is incredibly powerful, and any life-based caster is going to want this. None of these 3 things matter to us. So that's 3,000 of the 6,000 waiting that are good for other people, so you can sell it. I sold a ring just like this one, that instead of having the maximum ES, I hit tier 1 life with enemy hit per spells. I bought the ring for 50C, I Crusader slammed it, and I just sold it for 25 divines this morning. So if you miss, that's fine. It might even be a better thing. What you want to hit, though, is increase spell damage or increase maximum ES. For me, I hit a tier 1 ES roll on this one, and I hit a tier 2 ES roll on this one. So we have percent and flat energy shield as our prefixes. These are so easy to make, so don't worry about how good they look. This chest we crafted just with dense fossils. It's what I've been wearing since day 3. You want to get as much block and buff effect as you can get on it. On the boots, we have buff effect for stone golems. That gets our melee stone golem up to 71% damage reduction for us. The flasks are self-explanatory. You have other options here. Instead of move speed, you can go for the 3% regen roll. That will be doubled to 6% regen. It's absolutely crazy. In boss fights, you can probably swap that out pretty easily. Let's quickly talk about Pantheons. So Soul of Tukohama is really, really strong. We don't have to worry about Ignite, so Aberrath doesn't matter. This gives us physical damage reduction for every second we've been stationary. We're a self-cast build. We generally just face tank bosses. So this is going to give us 2% ES regen and 9% physical damage reduction. And this stacks up before the boss spawns. So if you're just waiting for the boss to spawn, you'll be at 9% by the time he comes in. So this is really, really powerful. I can't think of a reason to take anything except for this. But then the large, you have an option. If you want to go for the Brine King to deal with stuns, I found that stuns were a problem if I did not address them. So Brine King prevents you from getting stunned more than once every couple of seconds, and the rest of it is unfortunately dead. If you don't want to use the Brine King, what you can do is you can take an Energy Shield Mastery that gives you 50% of your ES is added to your stun threshold. This makes it so you don't get stunned very often, but the problem is you have to get to an ES Mastery. This one is okay. It gives you 10 strength and 15 ES, and it's only 2 points to reach the mastery. This is better. It gives you 30% ES, and you don't use the other 2 things, but it costs an extra point. So there's not a ton of points that I would get rid of in this build, but if you really want to, you can go for that instead. And what that allows you to do is take Soul of Lunaris. I ran this for a little while. It's very, very good. You get extra physical damage reduction, extra move speed. You avoid projectiles, which is one of the most dangerous things for this build before you get really tanky and then nothing is. But avoiding projectiles means you just don't take any damage even if it hits you. Reduced LE damage is obviously fantastic. And then avoiding projectiles that chain, it makes it so those maps that have chain on them don't cause your golems to give you extra damage. So this one's really nice, but I've been running Brine King just because I didn't want to waste any points getting to this mastery. Let's jump over to the hideout so you can actually see what my stats look like. So we have almost 8k energy shield. That feels like way more than enough. I regularly will do the less defenses, tier 16.5 and tier 17s, which scales up to 40 something percent. And I'll have under 4k ES and I still don't die. As you see here, I'm 99.6. I haven't died a single time at level 99, and I've done nothing but hard, difficult content. Tier 17s and tier 16.5s with full juice. I've been doing red vials as a BIS strategy, which is really profitable, but also incredibly dangerous. And I've only seen my health move once or twice. So on the note of golems, as you can see in the footage that you watched earlier, they simply don't take damage. There are things, however, that will kill them if you don't do something about it. So if you're planning on running something like the Abomination map that has the really chaos heavy boss in there, that can be pretty dangerous for them. And if they do die, it's not a huge deal. They come right back, but it can be annoying. So if you want to deal with chaos damage, you take Grave Intentions. It's 3 points, drop some damage, take these 3, and then you don't have to worry about them at all with chaos damage. There's another tier 16.5 and tier 17 map mod that makes it so all enemy hits poison and their duration is like plus 150%. This will make your golems die all of the time. It's very annoying. You can't really avoid it. So if you want to deal with that map mod. You just take Grave Intentions and it gives them life. It gives them life is extra and it gives them max chaos res. So for the Mercenary, this is not super min-maxed. I'm just doing something that I thought was fun as a way to get some more block. I'm using Mask of the Tribunal for block if you have a certain amount of strength to your allies. So I just grab strength on every gear piece that is a rare and the uniques that have it. And I get over 700 strength on this striker because he is strength based. So I get 7 block. I think I have 1 or 200. I currently have 158 dex. You can easily get that to 200 with a little bit of like proper crafting. I just threw some essences at my rares. So we have 8 multi and then 4 cast speed from this helmet. I put a very cheap damage axe so that the vigilant strike that I have with gilded fortification would give me a bigger fortify. And while mapping, you don't really need it, but he does give you pretty consistent fortify. And then on Ubers, you get, I think, maybe 2 or 3% fortification, which is not super exciting. So you could swap this out with anything else. We have Call on the axe here, which is actually surprisingly effective. The Legacy of Fury is still very strong. Cows binding, so we're converting more of our fizz with double strength on it. I have Exposure and Unnerve on the gloves. The chest has Determination Aura Effect and regular Aura Effect. Again, you could invest a lot more into these pieces and make them much stronger. And then we have a +1 Curse Shaper Seed. If you want to run a Frostbite on hit ring like this one, you have to get +1 Curse somewhere. So I chose to get it on a Shaper Seed. And you want to use Influence for Curse, and you want to use Influence for Aura Effect. I find that the Vigilant Strike with Gilded Fortification is probably not something that you need to worry about, but Determination, Vitality, Enduring Cry are super nice. And the Vitality actually helps keep the Golem alive. I can press my Zealotry in a map and it will never degen out. So that is it for this build. I am very likely going to be re-rolling either today or tomorrow. I may push out and get the level 100. I don't really care about 100s that much, but this character hasn't died in so long that I've been kind of getting there by accident. So next build soon, it's going to have a lot of projectiles. So make sure you stop by the stream and check it out. Twitch.tv/AER0___. I will be live every single day and right after this video. So make sure you like, subscribe, come by, drop the Twitch Prime, and I will see you in the next one. As always, take care.